Good afternoon. On this episode of My Sixth Sense, the government reconvenes in an effort to continue their long-held job of doing absolutely nothing for the American people but enriching themselves. We had a giant debate about SNAP benefits, which probably does need to be looked at. But what's really bankrupting America? Could it be foreign aid or the $20+ trillion we spend in foreign entanglements? We can talk about it. Next, the Uniparty is here to stay. Low IQ folks still can't get a grip on the idea that the people in government are the same year after year and do the same things year after year. Trump has decided that his own ego will be the downfall of his presidency. Absolutely no surprise there, as both sides try to act as if they aren't pedophiles and gaslight everyone into thinking that it's their party who actually wanted to release the Epstein files when no one did. Our economy sucks, but we're back to Biden-level silliness and acting as if everything is awesome. Lastly, the most concerning, the leader of Syria, Ahmed al-Shara, or better known by U.S. intelligence as Abu Muhammad al-Jawlani, visits the United States and shoots hoops with U.S. service members at the White House before going to the UN General Council in New York and visiting Ground Zero. Side note, this asshole was a member of Al-Qaeda, joined in 2003. After being released from U.S. custody, he became the leader of Al-Nusra Front in Syria. And in May 2013, the U.S. designated him specifically, quoting, specially designated global terrorist. So what the fuck are we doing? I was told that Al-Qaeda perpetrated 9/11. Now he's being walked around this country as our partner. Literally called partner. He visited the site of the largest terror event in our history, but thank God he doesn't like Hezbollah, so that's good for Israel. This country's gone. Having a lot of trouble on this one. This and nothing else because I'm so pissed off on today's episode of My Sixth Sense. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to My Sixth Sense. Back for your not really so scheduled programming. I'm just going to not even talk about that because I do that every episode, and the 6 people that listen to it know that I can't really get on a schedule for whatever reason. May be my own laziness. That's probably what it is. Let's take responsibility there. There's just been so much to talk about lately. I said nothing else is going to be spoken about, but I in my intro, we do eventually have to talk at the end of the leader of Syria visiting the States. That wasn't like yesterday, but we do got to talk about that. And it kind of comes full circle for kind of like what's going on in this country. But first, I want to talk about the government shutdown ending, which none of it affected me at all. And probably anybody who listens to this show, it probably affected you not at all, nothing. And that doesn't mean it didn't affect some people. We did get to have a pretty decent debate on how SNAP benefits are structured. There's a lot of evidence that it needs to be overhauled. There's no one in this country that's starving to death. That's just it. I just think when that conversation starts, like, I don't have a problem with SNAP benefits for the most part. Obviously, there needs to be rules and like you shouldn't be able to buy sugary stuff. You shouldn't be able to buy soda. It should be essentials. It should almost be like WIC, where it's just milk, eggs, meat, that kind of stuff. I have no idea why you're allowed to take cash advances out against your SNAP benefits. You shouldn't be on SNAP benefits for 32 years or anything more than that. And again, that's not the majority of people. Illegal immigrants should not be given SNAP because they do not pay into it. But if you're disabled, that's one thing. But if you just have 8 kids and you're staying at home, again, it's the minority, but it still happens, and you don't want to get a job, then unfortunately, like, you have to, I read a story, again, the minority, I got to keep saying that, of a woman who had 8 kids and just doesn't work, and she gets $36,000 in SNAP benefits. And you might say, well, she needs to feed her kids. Like, yep. She shouldn't have 8 kids if she can't afford to have 8 kids. That's just the way it is. We had daycare assistants until I made too much money to qualify. That's the part that traps these people, is they get the benefits. There's no middle ground. It's either by the dollar, you get cut off from this program. So it's like, if you make just enough to survive, they cut you off. And that's really the problem. That's why people don't want to, don't want to get off of it, because, like, for example, you got people that work up at the last place that I worked that were making $14 or $15 an hour. And if they make $1 or $2 an hour more, they don't qualify, which doesn't add much to the back end of your paycheck, especially after all your taxes are taken out and whatever. So that's definitely a conversation that needs to be had, overhauling that. But don't we think that, like, I've heard so many comments, like from Ben Shapiro, talking about Social Security and that's what's bankrupting. Don't you think it could also be all the foreign entanglements that we're involved in, and the $26 trillion we spent on a foreign war that we very clearly should not have been involved in? Why aren't we holding those people responsible? Why aren't we holding the people responsible for the largest transfer of wealth in human history responsible for this? See, the thing is, we talk about all this stuff that doesn't matter, like, between us, like the race baiters and the trans stuff and all this stuff that we bicker about so much. But then it's like, hey, nobody can live, nobody can pay their insurance premiums, nobody can buy a house, nobody can have kids. And that's how you build a country. Nobody can, like, live their life comfortably. And it's always boomers telling us, how it was back then. Like, it's different. Unfortunately, you guys ruined it for everybody else. But the politicians are totally culpable in that. And so instead of talking about, is SNAP benefits bankrupting America, or Social Security that we've paid into, that should, the way that it was presented, that should work. But you're using money from that fund for other things. And now it's completely bankrupt. So it's part of our budget now. It's not, even though it's being paid into, it goes right out the door because it goes to somewhere else, whether that be another country or another war or another weapons company or whatever it is. So I think the real conversation that we need to have is, what's actually bankrupting us, right? Because when you look at what's in our budget, Medicaid, Medicare, obviously is a big thing. Social Security. Why is it in our budget? Let's talk about that. Why is that part of our expenditures? You said we put our money away. When we retire, we pull from that. That's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be I don't know if a CD, but it was supposed to grow, and then we would pull from that. It's not something that you get to touch. It's like union dues. You pay in and then you pull from the pension, but they need other people behind them to pay in so that there's money there. Now it's no money's there, and it's part of our budget. And we don't balance our budget because then these people couldn't just print money and spend it wherever they want, because no one's fiscally conservative. I don't care. You could argue with that until your eyes are blue. There's no fiscal conservatives, a majority in the Republican Party. There's definitely not in the Democratic Party. No one cares about any of that stuff because they're so nearsighted. They don't care. They just kick every problem down the road. Nancy Pelosi's 100 million years old. She's finally retiring. She doesn't give a shit about you and how you can survive. She beat the stock market by 9,000%. She's going to be fine. Her whole family generationally is going to be fine. Right? All these people, they make sure that we are bickering about the silliest shit that doesn't, sorry for all the cursing, it just really upsets me. The silliest stuff that is not helpful for us to get better. Trans rights has nothing to do with the fact that I can't buy a house. I mean, we live in a house. That other people can't afford to buy a house, or people can't afford their health care, or people can't afford their rent, or people can't name a thing that a productive society makes it at least doable. 50-year mortgages. Anyway, so that's the budget problem, right? Again, we've seen, moving into my next talking point, we've seen the Uniparty, I've said this multiple times, is alive and cooking, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump is no different from the last person. We thought he was. But it's always funny to me, these low IQ people who still can't get a grip on the idea that everyone's the same, and they always do the same thing no matter what the party is. because who's ever in charge, who's ever really in charge, I'm guessing it's probably foreign, you know, foreign people, foreign agents, I guess, that are actually in control, because none of this makes any sense. Every year we've got Israel. Every year we've got some new war. And as of recently, well, not recently, it's been going on for years now, we've got Epstein. And we had a president who was completely cognitively destroyed and wasn't there. So I guess that's kind of an excuse. He was not running the government. Nobody elected was, that's for sure. I mean, you don't even need to assume that. That's just the way it was. It was pretty obvious. But the Trump administration got so much support because they ran on what Americans want. Americans can agree that we want transparency, that we believe the government is lying to us all the time. They are taking our money and spending it in ways that do not benefit Americans, getting involved in new foreign conflicts. All of our founding fathers were vehemently against that. They spoke about open trade if it benefits us, but there should be no getting into foreign entanglements, which is just something that we just love to do. The Epstein files was huge. We were told that the JFK, Martin Luther King, RFK Jr. or not Jr. RFK files were going to be released. Some of it has, some of it hasn't. And then I knew it was going downhill. And a couple of people were like, no, it's not over yet. You know, his presidency still got a little bit of time. When he tried to gaslight us about Epstein, are we still talking about Epstein? And it's like, dude, this could quite potentially be your downfall. Because that's kind of like what we were expecting, is the transparency part of everything. But you come to find out that your name might be on it. And now it's like, oh, we can't. Like, who? Jeff Epstein, who? We had the files. We don't have the files. Here's the first part of the release. Both sides acting like they're not pedophiles, which they seem it's weird that a lot of them are. And so now it's gotten to a fever pitch. And I don't know if you guys listen to, what is this? There's a podcast, and Tim Dillon had dinner with JD Vance and told him, not that he has any pull with JD Vance, but told him, hey, listen, this is a huge bright light. You guys need to do something about this, because like this isn't working. And Tim Dillon said that he was aware. He was aware of that. But they did nothing, and they waited until the very last second. And now they're here. Now you got both sides acting like they usually do, pointing fingers. They're both on it. They're both involved. I don't care who blocked it, or who the Democrats didn't want it to come out, or the Republicans. I don't care. Nobody does. Release it. We're spending so much time. Who cares? Dude, it's a worldwide pedophile ring that controlled much of the many powerful people were involved in this. And every voter has a right to know if their leaders are captured, which they are clearly, based upon the decisions they have made in the last 10 years, clearly captured. I mean, there was a picture of Bill Clinton in like a lounger in a blue dress in Epstein's. Like, why? How would you get away with that if you didn't, And so that's why these judges are blocking this. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat. They're blocking it because the people that appointed them are like, hey, don't let this get out. This is bad. This is really bad. And here's the thing. The point that I saw on Facebook, I can't remember where, maybe it was Facebook, but it's like, if this is going to bring the government down, then the government doesn't have the right to exist at this point. It deserves to fail. If you guys decided to fuck kids and then hide it, and then now that you're caught, act like, like play the blame game again. No. You guys are all involved. And no, let me tell you something. It's getting to the point people are starting to wake up, and it is a joyous moment for me. Because I've seen this for a long time. And there's a couple of doofuses online, two in particular. One really low IQ guy, but who are just like, it is silly to act like both sides do these things. And it's like, well, then why don't you, with evidence, instead of, because that's what people do. That's what the people on the right and left do is they'll just say like, no, not our guy, or they'll pick one little thing. But the general consensus, if you look around, is would it be support for Israel? Would it be the weaponization of the Justice Department? Is it the great necessity to be involved in foreign conflicts and spending more money than we possibly can, not being fiscally conservative, or helping the American people, i.e., the Palisades are on fire. We've got $750 per person, but at the same time, we have $11 billion going out the door for Ukraine. You explain to me how that's America. We're not going to say America first, which every single politician acts like that. Well, I'm for the American people. Okay, so you are America first. Okay, so then why did you vote to send another aid package to Ukraine? That's not America first. Okay, so you voted for healthcare for illegal immigrants when other people can't afford their healthcare premiums. Okay, well, then you're not America first. You're not for the American people. If it costs so much to have Americans on SNAP, why are we giving it to illegal immigrants? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all these questions, but they all do it. They're all doing these things. Now it's H-1B visas, right? So Trump really hasn't deported what he said he was going to do. He is now getting behind H-1B visas without like really looking into it. Where these jobs like 7-Eleven, for example, 7-Eleven puts these jobs, they have to attempt to hire U.S. citizens before they go overseas. So they put these jobs on job boards no one looks at, and then says, well, we tried, and brings someone over that they can pay like dirt, right? So now it's all moved. It's all moved to basically to the same thing that Biden was, which was the same thing that Trump one was, which is the same thing that Obama was, which is just another divisive, another egotistical presidency that is a giant failure and divided the country more. We were more together during the election because a lot of people, independents and libertarians included, came over to the right because it was like, this is the majority of people. It was so clear. They wanted transparency, enough of the foreign aid and wars. They wanted Doge. They wanted to look at how the government is spending our money. And people, obviously there's still that small minority of people who like just cannot understand why we don't need $1 million, any more than $1, but we'll just say $20 million going to Uganda to sponsor transsexual orchestras or whatever it was. They're just like, we need to help these people. It's like, we can't help ourselves. And don't tell me the economy is fine. Oh, our GDP grew, or our, hey, inflation's only 1.9%. It's like, okay, I weigh 150 pounds. I gain what? I gain 50 pounds. Okay. In 1 year, I eat enough to gain 50 pounds. So that's a 33% increase, 33.3%, right? We'll make it like kind of a round number. And then year 2, I gain 15 pounds. I eat enough to gain 15 pounds. Well, dude, that's a 70% drop. I dropped 70%. So it's like, wow, we're down 70%. And it's like, okay, the next year I gained 3%. I only gained 3 pounds. Only, you hear me? I only gained 3 pounds. Well, that's an 80% drop. But I still am fat as shit and weigh 218 pounds. You know what I mean? So when they put it like that, the economy's great. It's just like Biden. When Bidenomics is working, the economy's great. Don't believe your eyes, believe me. And it's like, dude, eggs are expensive. Every single thing is expensive. And just because it's down, whatever he said, to 1.9%, the prices are still going up. It's just nothing's keeping up with it because of policies from him and Biden. So you can't believe anything these people say. Now the Epstein thing, isn't it surprising that Trump's ego is gonna really be the downfall? Who saw that coming? This guy's losing his whole base. He's like trying to take out Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene, of all people. Has this guy lost his mind? Everything she says is like his talking point during the election. Everything she says is just his talking point. We need to be America first. We need to make it more affordable for our kids to buy homes or have kids. All these things that Americans actually talk about, and she criticized like AIPAC should be registered as a foreign government. Why are we sending all this money to Israel? It seems like Israel is a big problem for this country. Now he's like, she's a leftist. And it's like, dude, you are an idiot. What you're doing is you're cutting your base off because your ego. And someone is telling you, like Biden, just like Biden, when he like wouldn't drop out of the race, someone is telling you the wrong information. Thomas Massie, just because he won't vote yes with you, he votes yes with Republicans like over 90% of the time. And you said he never, ever votes with you. It's because he won't vote for some of the silliest spending policies, just like Rand Paul won't, just like Justin Amash won't. And all these people are anti-American now? No. They're with the American people. That's why they keep winning, and there's no primarying, and you can't do anything about it. And these people just think that because they're powerful, that what they think, okay, just real quick, the New York mayoral race, Mamdani it was pretty clear he was going to win. Who did the president back? Was it the socialist, Mamdani? Was it Siwa? Or was it the last mayor that killed so many old people during COVID? He should probably be in prison. He was a historically awful mayor that with his policies put all New Yorkers in jeopardy of losing their lives. And a Democrat. Yeah, no, he got behind Cuomo. See, none of this makes sense because all of these assholes are all on the same team, and we spend the majority of the time arguing with each other about the silliest minute shit that doesn't matter. We are headed for a cliff. And if we don't turn, we don't need to slow down. We're already going too fast. We don't turn away. This is not going to end good. There is no candidate right now, even coming into the mid, that I would vote for unless, this is going to sound crazy, I can't even believe this is coming out of my mouth, but like Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she's unafraid. But here's the thing. Here's my shoreline here is if you put someone like that in office, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she does the opposite, then you know it's completely captured. I'm about 99% sure that everyone in Congress is captured. Well, except for Massie, because he's really got nothing, no investments and all that stuff. Or maybe Rand Paul. I think he took some from AIPAC. I'm not really sure. But the thing is it's pretty clear. So if you have to get someone in there that does not care, unfortunately, about their personal safety and stand on their values, stand on the truth, which is Americans can't afford shit and can't own shit. Not even getting into the idea of a 50-year mortgage that you'd pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest and not own it. I mean, you'd be 80 years old before you owned your home just to save $125 a month. I mean, are these people serious? Why not make legislation that prevents BlackRock from buying up single family homes? Why not make legislation to help the American people? No, they're too busy pandering to all the lobbyists because money is speech. So for that, I'm so far off the Trump train. I think he's acting like a complete dipshit. I'm tired of all of the pandering. It's so weird because him and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson are basically saying the same thing, but he's attacking MTG, but then saying that Nick Fuentes should be allowed to at least speak, which I agree with. Like everybody should have their voice. It's weird. So I'm off. I'm done. My vote. I voted for Trump. Just like I said before he took office, I give everyone a shot, and they always disappoint me. Always. There has not been, in my lifetime, there has not been a president that has not disappointed me. And that's why it's so difficult for me to vote. Everyone's like, well, if you don't vote, you don't get a say. It's like, well, my say does nothing but move us forward to the cliff. You had to, and the thing is, you had to vote for Trump. Kamala was so much worse. There was no right-minded individual who was a Democrat who thought, literally looking out at the economic landscape and their own life, that Biden was a wonderful president. He did a whole lot of great stuff, for the country, for this country. He sure did a hell of a lot for his own family and weapons companies for sure. And then you got Kamala, who's like, no, it wouldn't change anything. It's like you almost had to vote for Trump. But he's done the same thing that Biden did, the same thing that Trump 1 did, and the same thing that Obama did, and then the same thing that Bush did. It's sad, man. It's sad. The state of affairs, it's sad. And we don't ever talk about that. We just talk about women's bathrooms because that's the most pressing issue this country has to deal with. It's not the fact that we are pretty much controlled by the state of Israel. It is not the fact that we have spent ourselves into a debt that we will never be able to pay off, and it puts on the backs of our children. We do not talk about the endless cycle of wars and bombs being dropped at the expense of not just us, but innocent civilians. No. The talking point is chicks with dicks. Sorry to put that so bluntly. I believe every person should do whatever they want, however they feel. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. But like when you want to talk about something serious, that's not what I want to talk about. It's not serious. I mean, honestly, it shouldn't even be that serious. Like, go let them live their life. Like, yeah, I mean, there should be a designated bathroom. Easy solution. If you want to live that way, which is perfectly fine, there's a designated bathroom for you, so you don't make other people feel uncomfortable, right? They don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, and you don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. End of story. Next, $36 trillion in debt. Let's figure that out. Let's figure out why every move we make benefits Israel, even when it doesn't benefit us. Let's talk about things that don't make any sense, like the Epstein files not being released by either party at all and being hidden and blocked by federal judges. How are federal judges even appointed? Shouldn't anyway, let's conversation for another day. The last thing I want to get to is kind of near and dear to my heart, but it enrages me more than anything I've talked about yet. And it didn't just happen. Well, I guess it happened kind of recently. We'll say a week or two ago. The leader of Syria, his real name, I'm not gonna say it, but the name that service members and intelligence call him is Abu Muhammad al-Jawlani. He was just at the White House shooting hoops. He's a leader of Syria now, shooting hoops with U.S. service members. And then he attended the UN General Council in New York. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, who is this guy? I mean, a leader of Syria. Of course, the U.S. State Department would have him here to talk. It would call him a partner, right? I mean, the Middle East is volatile. This asshole was a member of Al-Qaeda and fought in Iraq against U.S. service members. He was then released. He was captured in 2006, released in 2012, and then led the al-Nusra Front in Syria. I don't know if you can wrap your head around that. Like, I don't. What the fuck are we doing? So you're saying a member of, that was designated by the U.S. as a global terrorist is now our partner. How many service members died fighting this group? How many special operators passed away hunting these guys down? He was a violent terrorist that fought Americans. And I'm sorry, but wasn't I told way back then that 9/11 was perpetrated by Al-Qaeda? This asshole visited Ground Zero. What are we doing? You may think all this is a fairy tale, is a story that is just randomly being told, that this doesn't make any sense. Well, it makes sense because our government is so hijacked and derailed and stupid that they're going to walk this guy out and let him play basketball with our service members. And then, this is our partner now in the Middle East. No, he's not. He's a global terrorist that ran a giant terrorist organization and fought the U.S. in Iraq violently. But you know what, though? You know the good news in this? Let me tell you the little shining moment. This is for all the Zionists out there. The good news about this guy that I found out, just the good news. He doesn't like Hezbollah. So it's good for Israel that he's in charge. You ever just open hand slap somebody? How disrespectful can you be? This country is so backwards. We spent 20 plus years, 20 some trillion dollars. We have lost, it is 22 veterans a day kill themselves. More people have taken their own life in relation to their service than died on a foreign battlefield fighting assholes like this, who now, because he is good for Israel, is now a partner in whatever. I'm not going to say peace, but in this political landscape, it makes sense. Everything's fucking backwards. And again, I'm sorry for cursing so much. I just try really not to do that, but how insane is that? A guy who fought with the group that brought down the Twin Towers, whether you think so or not, or at least one of the buildings, which, again, there's intelligence to suggest we knew that was coming, but that's for another day, is now at ground zero. Oh, wow. That's like your significant other is raped. They let the rapist out of jail, and then he runs for a leadership position, and they're like, this guy's, he's our partner now. We just have to forget about all the nasty shit he's done. And that's like a husband going, yeah, well, let's forget about that for sure. It makes sense. He's for this. He's for this one thing that serves not me or not anyone in this community. He's for something, and it's like, why does everything go back to, why is everything connecting to Israel? Why Epstein? Every move that we make has Israel in mind. I mean, even when we watch them just level Gaza and like, I don't care how you feel about that, right? Like, if October 7th was horrific, but like, unless you can figure out a way to not just kill a shitload of kids, then you can't go do what you want to do. There is evidence in the Knesset, apparently, that they found that they could have stopped October 7th. I read a little bit about that. Apparently it was completely doable. I'm not really sure why it happened. It's awful that it did happen. But again, we let all of this go. We let all of this terrible stuff. I mean, really, if Osama bin Laden was still alive, which they could have taken him out before the war even started, that's like them bringing Osama bin Laden and being like, well, now he's our partner. And you'd be like, I don't give a shit what you feel like. He is an evil person that shouldn't be anywhere near our shores because he perpetrated 9/11 or like whatever it is. Like, how can you hate Putin this much and like not want him to come here and get mad at Trump for meeting him? But this dude's dope. It's sad, man. A sad state of affairs for the United States and its people. I really hope at some point we can actually start having decent debates about like shit that matters. Like we shouldn't be trying to figure out how to send more money to foreign countries when there's something happening here. None of our founding fathers subscribed to any of this. In fact, they were the exact opposite. But something or someone, evilness or whatever it is infiltrated the United States government, and every party is the same. They always end up doing the same stuff, telling us the economy is great, even though we're drowning. The people are drowning, not the politicians. They enrich themselves to a point where they'll never have to worry about it again. They get us riled up about race relations. Just all this stuff that, like, yes, it does matter, but we can't figure that out until we figure out a whole bunch of other stuff, period. Because we're failing as a nation, and it's not because of racism. I'll tell you that much right now. It's not because of trans rights. And it's not because, whatever the next, the Republican issues are. I mean, pick one. They're all of them are ridiculous. All the ones we fight about, at least. Not, I mean, I would hope that we can get together on a lot of these things, like Epstein. It's clear that that's a big failure. And I, now you see Trump saying like, well, I always want to release it. Like, no, you didn't. Stop lying to everyone about everything all the time. Or like this Charlie Kirk thing. Why is Candace Owens? I mean, if you haven't listened to her, and I love it when people call her like crazy and you got to be careful when you listen to her. It's like, well, have you listened to her? She makes some pretty good points. You don't have to believe her, but at least listen. She's not saying anything anti-Semitic. She's just like, this is what I found, and this is what I can correlate. Like, all of it. Tucker just did a whole thing on Thomas Crooks. We still have they told us he had no social media presence. Tucker Carlson found his social media presence. We are being lied to. Castrotel looks like he's actually captured. Like, he doesn't blink when he speaks anymore, and he's like tweeting about his girlfriend. Anyway, I'm going to cut it here before I actually grab my monitor and rip it off the wall. Have a wonderful week, everybody.